detention, where I actually spent a majority of my middle and high school careers. Oh no, wait, that was suspension. What up, everyone? It's your boy Floz MG, and welcome back to another episode of Tear Up. And with school being just around the corner, or already came around the corner for some of y'all, we're going to be ranking various school subjects. And I will say, I hated school. It was hell for me. Because I was more than likely the weird, quiet kid that everyone thought was going to shoot up the place. Wouldn't surprise me. But look at me now. Absolutely no better. But we're just going to go ahead and rank these various subjects that I hate. Let's get into it. The rankings for these videos are as follows. God tier, honor roll, I'll stay awake, detention, and canceled. Some classes are just so bad, or the teachers make it so bad, that you want to sleep through them. First up, we have art. I will say for the longest time, art was one of my favorite subjects. Because it allowed me to just let out my creative side, my creativity. This is literally what this entire channel is doing for me, allowing me to let out my creativity. And the reason I say for the longest time it was one of my favorite subjects, we got to high school, and we had this one teacher in a drawing class, and it was literally just drawing one. To put it lightly, this teacher made me never want to draw again. I honestly think I did good. Like, my drawing wasn't even bad. It was just that she thought, like, the piece could always use more. It was always the piece could always use more. Never leave a blank spot on the paper. What if that blank spot was needed? If you're somehow watching this, I want to let you know that you ruined me. But while it was one of my favorite subjects before she came into the picture, I am going to put it up in honor roll. It was God tier. Then she ruined it for me. Next up we have culinary arts. Never took it. Never took anything to do with food or cooking or whatsoever. Unless it's chicken nuggets in a toaster oven, that's almost the extent of my cooking knowledge. Bacon knowledge I have a little bit more of, I will say. But Nestle was my teacher for that. Culinary, never took it, never planned to take it. So I'm going to go ahead and put it down and canceled. You know what? I am a man. Men don't need to be learning how to cook. That's what we have women for. Okay. Next up, this is something that I actually did take, in a sense. Next up, we have drama. Because, like, if you know me, you know I love performing, like, acting. Like, in 6th grade, there really wasn't, like, a drama class, but we did have, like, a drama club, and, like, they would make these movies or whatever to show for the entire school, and we do, like, fun games after school, acting-wise, blah, 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 all that sort of shit. Then we skipped to high school. I never did any sort of acting stuff in that at all, because after 6th grade, I got really discouraged from doing it. But went to high school, and I tried out for, I believe I tried out for a fall drama. I did make it into that. I actually managed to become the lead antagonist somehow. Wait, why am I saying somehow? With my personality, I can antagonize anybody. But I just had a lot of shit going on back then, and I wasn't able to focus. A lot of panic attacks. I told them that they had to find someone new to do that part. And to this day, people still blame me for ruining the fall drama. If you're still back in that and coming from me, you need to get a fucking life. That was high school. I did also try out for the spring musical, either that same year or the following year, and it was Cinderella. I tried out for Prince fucking what's his name. I ended up becoming a knight. I never went to any rehearsals because I just wanted to see like if I could make it in. And I think I became like one of the leading knights or whatever it was. But yeah, Drama being one of the arts did get my interest, but over time in school, like the school's purpose, it's to crush your dreams and make you a robot in society. So once again, I'm going to have to go ahead and put it in honor roll. Because it was great, then school ruined it. Next up, we have English. This one I'm not going to spend too much time going over. I know do English good. I'm going to say this, every single one of my English teachers, I despise them. When I say despise, I mean despise them. Every one of my English teachers, I hated them for some reason. I just hated them. I hate English. Cancel English. Me no do English good. Me caveman. Where am I going with this? Next up, we have gym and or physical education. Like art and drama, this was one of my favorites, but then I got into high school and became very, like, self-conscious about my physicality, if you will. And also, like, again, the reason I like this is because it's gym, phys ed. Everyone enjoys that because it's essentially a part of the day where you just get to play. It's the best equivalent to recess you get in high school. But self-consciousness toward my body ruined that. To the point where I didn't even participate, to the point where I was almost failing gym. That's literally how discouraged. Like, high school was a difficult time for me, man. So much so that I think I actually have to put gym in detention. It was ruined so much more than freaking art or drama was. So much more. Next up, we have health. I'm gonna say this, ironically, my health teachers were probably the ones that I had very little to, like, no hatred for. They were the ones that I actually, like, somewhat appreciated for some odd reason. Like, I really had no, like, interest in the subject itself. And, like, when the guys got to high school, they were like, we get to go to health and learn about dicks and balls and pussies and pubes and shit like that. That's not even an exaggeration. That is like a word for word, verbatim, whatever one of these other fuckers said. Now, the only thing that makes those classes bearable are some of the teachers. So, I think for actually making it bearable, I have to put health and God tier. I don't know why, I just have to. Next up, we have something that's absolutely not important at all in modern times. History! Because why do we have to know about what some old dirty dudes did back in the day? All that matters is the now. And I will say, in school, there are only two types of people. Those that are good in science and math, or those that are good in English and history. We already know I'm shit at English, so I'm shit at history too. Point being, history, not important, don't care about it. I will say I did have a couple history teachers that made it slightly bearable, so that's the only thing that's gonna bring it out of canceled a little bit. Still detention worthy though. We have a class that I will say I absolutely excelled in. I think I have always gotten, like, straight A's in this class. Maybe not A pluses, but A's and A minuses. Math. Math was the one subject in school I will say I genuinely was any good at. I can genuinely say math was the only subject in school that I was good at. And, like, it completely has to do with my job. Like, for those of you who don't know, I'm a blackjack dealer or, like, a card dealer in a casino. Math is everything in that job. It is everything. So, for this being the class that literally makes me able to do my job, God tier. Next up, I am conflicted. Because next up is music. Music was fun-ish in those classes. Then we get to high school. High school makes everything seem so much more serious than it actually is. I believe in my senior year of high school, I had tried out for one of the choirs. Like, there's levels to the choirs. There's chorus, concert choir, and chamber choir. I'd auditioned for any of them, really. I auditioned as a tenor. I made it into, not chorus, but I made it into concert choir somehow. How the hell I made it into that? I've got no idea. That class actually gave me my current channel name. That's a whole story that I'll have to get into at some point. But again, like the other ones in honor roll, like art and drama, school had to ruin it for me. Specifically this one instructor. I'm not going to get into that. Point is, it was good, it was great, it got ruined, so now it has to go down one. Still honor roll. I think honor roll is just going to be saved for the artistic classes. I think that's just where it's going to be saved. Next up, we have science. Science was good to a certain point. Then it literally just became, here, stuff in textbook. Read that, understand that, and literally nothing else. The only reason you would go to science is to do the fun experiments. And when they stopped doing that, it became lame. Like, there were like long periods of time where you wouldn't even do that anymore, and again, just became lame. But I will say science was also one of the subjects that I actually did moderately well in, like math, but correction, math I excelled. Science was like moderately well. History and English, fuck those two. Science, I'm better at that than either of the other ones, so I'm gonna say I'll stay awake is good enough for it. Next, we're gonna get to a class that I failed twice. Spanish. I will say, Spanish, like, there was a very big difference between Spanish in middle school and then Spanish in high school. I will say, in middle school, I did excel at Spanish for one reason and one reason only. I tried to impress my Spanish teacher, who was fine at that point. I've got no clue where she is now, nor do I really care. But then I got into high school. She recommended me for Spanish 2 in high school, one of very few freshmen who went into Spanish 2 in high school. I took that class, failed miserably. Then I had to take it again. I moderately passed, like a D or a C or whatever. Then I went to Spanish 3, failed that too, never took another Spanish class. I will say middle school was the only bearable Spanish, so I'm going to go ahead and put that down in detention. Middle school is the only reason that brought it out of canceled. Next up, I know this isn't really a class, but study hall. It's a period where you've got literally nothing going on, so you're just going to sit in a classroom and do fuck all, really. Plus, in middle school, because I think everyone in middle school like had to play an instrument. There was like 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th, and 8th grade bands or whatever, or orchestra. I originally was trumpet. I had no interest in doing that anymore, so they put me in study hall instead. And then when high school came around, it was much different. Study hall was just a period of time or space to collect up. And study hall, it was just a time to waste, so I'm going to go ahead and put study hall up in honor roll. It's not really, I'm not going to say it's a god tier one, because it does make the day seem a bit slower, but that's fine with me. Next up, we have a class that I really think I was going to say I only took in middle school, but maybe this was the only way it was called in middle school. Next up, we have technology, because there were like various like technology classes in high school, but none really had the same vibe as they did in middle school. Because in middle school, it was just like working with like a bunch of the Microsoft programs. And then, well, actually, now that I think about it, that was kind of the same thing with the ones in high school, now that I think about it. But what if you owned an Apple? Again, in middle school, I will say technology was the only one of the very few classes I did any good in, because the teacher made it somewhat bearable. But at the same time, high school did not make that really any better. So, I do like working with computers, hence why I do videos and shit. So I think I'm going to go ahead and put technology in. I'll put it in I'll stay awake. Because, I mean, I'll stay awake to do it. Other than that, you're not going to get my goddamn attention. But next up and last up, we have woodshop. Another one I never took. Hence why you can never see me do any decent handiwork around anywhere. And like in woodshop, like what is there that you do? Here, build a birdhouse. Here, build a shelf. Nothing like here, build a goddamn mansion you can live in. But then again, that would be a lot of work. And you probably would be graded poorly because you used the wrong color when finishing the wood. Again, I'm completely skeptical. But woodshop, again, because I didn't take it, nor did I really have any interest in taking it, we're going to go ahead and put it down in detention. Detention! Where I actually spent a majority of my middle and high school careers. Oh, no, wait, that was suspension. But I think this is where we're going to go ahead and end it off. I've been Floz MG. This has been 2 Up Ranking School Subjects, and I can't wait to see you all in the next video.